Hey guys, ready to begin. Looking forward to the session on unit news. Hope everyone has enjoyed the unit conference so far. It's our first forum of 50 forums for this unit forum series. I'm going to be talking now about unit news. Really excited about this. This is our fifth initiative of the unit movement. And I think news is such an important piece of society. You know, it's where people stay up to date with what's going on, what's trending. And yeah, I really think, coverage of the token economy is super important. Yep, get started. So I guess to begin with, why are we doing it? So why are we creating unit news? Why is it important? Why are we investing our precious time and energy to publish high quality, unbiased, entertaining periodic publications for different ecosystems, whether it's crypto, industry, city, news, and breaking coverage. Because we believe in showcasing people who are doing amazing things. We believe in covering fake news and really giving people the truth. So I guess good to understand a little bit about news. So news has gone back hundreds and thousands of years. If you look into Egyptians, or you look into Chinese society thousands of years ago, or even the Incas, news has always been documented. It's one major advancement in society was the printing press. So we have a picture here of someone reading a newspaper, and when people could start reading news, or to begin with, news was usually posted in the center of a town, and everyone would check out the news. And then the distribution behind news and the printing press allowed for everyone to access it, to learn, to get information in a much faster time. And the internet really transformed that. People didn't realize how the internet would have such a strong influence on news and media. And it's really changed the world in terms of how media is consumed and created. We're confident that the same way, very few people read newspapers, or you very rarely see a newspaper now in a supermarket or in a corner store, or people very rarely get newspaper deliveries because it's all done online. We think that the blockchain, the token economy, is going to influence the currently few major news groups. So we're really excited for that. And we think that unit news is going to play a huge role in that. We cover three different types of news primarily. We cover crypto news, we cover city news, and we cover industry news. And we really try and showcase cutting edge news and publications. We're beginning our first edition in January, and that covers 10 articles written by 5 writers, and we plan to scale this up to 100 writers and 200 articles published monthly. Really looking forward to that. So what is the problem with news at the moment? There's a lot of fake news, as mentioned before. Low public trust. People are doubting what they read. They're doubting what journalists cover, even though they might be professional journalists of renowned organizations. These publications are not well respected or trusted. There's a lot of sensationalism. So press tries to focus on murders or car crashes or kidnappings, things that get usually a negative reaction from people. So sensation, and we think this can be improved to cover more good things, or maybe less scandalous things. A lot of mistakes left uncorrected. So factual errors, which people they're eager to hide mistakes, and they don't. It doesn't matter to journalists about whether things are correct. They're just trying to churn out articles and clickbait, and it doesn't matter if it's the truth. It just matters if it has clicks and if it sells ads. Poor coverage of important issues. So issues that affect everyday's lives, like environmental crises or social issues, or government sensitive issues in government. This sometimes gets overlooked. So we think that media can do a better job in keeping environmental issues, social issues, government issues, even certain business issues in check. There's also a very poor compensation structure for journalists. So journalists don't make very much money. They're usually a struggling journalist, or they're a struggling writer. And we think that tokens can really create a new model by which journalists and publishers can thrive. Also, they're very much focused on profits and not on public interest. So a lot of publications, and excited to cover this in this talk, focus simply on making money, and they don't manage their journalistic integrity, which we think is super important. So I'd love to start off with this, explain about this platform called Digg. So speaking for myself personally, I was a very active Digg user. So this was in the early 2000s. It was launched, I think, in 2004. And it was the idea of it was the homepage of the internet. So you can see here, people submitted stories and they digged it. So you can see here, this has got 1,433 digs. This has 446 digs. This has 526 digs. It was digg.com. It was an ad-based business model, and really cool because it didn't actually have any content. It was all links to different content. And this model of sharing articles, sharing discussions, commenting has served as a huge inspiration for our news feature within Unit. Digg did exceptionally well. Google offered it $200 million to acquire it in 2009, I think, but they turned it down. Unfortunately, Digg got replaced. Digg made some changes, which one agreed with by the users, because they were very much focused on monetization, and they kind of took advantage of the community. So a lot of people migrated to Reddit, and Reddit was very similar to Digg, but I guess one key difference with it, with Digg, there were a number of Digg topics you can see here on the left. It was like world and business, videos, entertainment, gaming, technology, science. These were chosen by the Digg team, Digg founders, Digg administrators. And the cool thing about Reddit is anybody could create their own community. So with Digg, all of these communities were chosen by the administrators. With Reddit, anyone could create their own community. And very similarly, there weren't digs, but they were basically Reddit upvotes. And the really cool thing about Reddit, I've been using Reddit for about 12 years now, is it has such a strong community, and they're really in very small sub communities. Even micro niches do exceptionally well. This is a huge inspiration for the token economy, because it shows that even if you create a Reddit community with only tens or a few hundred people, it can still be very active and can still produce a lot of value. Another similar model to this is Hacker News. So was talking earlier about our Unit Ventures program being modeled on one of the most successful incubator accelerators called Y Combinator. And Y Combinator, based in San Francisco and Palo Alto, they have this thing called Hacker News. And it basically, as you can see, it doesn't look the most pretty or beautiful interface, but this is the first website I go to when I wake up. And why? Because it's got such a good amount of discussion and access to information. You can see here there's about 21 different articles on the front page, and none of it is actually on the platform itself. It's always linking to all of the different websites there. And if you click on comments, you can usually get a very interesting two-sided discussion from people who sometimes know more than the people who write the articles or the people who submitted the articles. Also interesting is BuzzFeed. So BuzzFeed was one of the first news organizations which did really well in terms of reaching mainstream adoption. It succeeded a lot on social media, and there's this term called clickbait, and clickbait was largely inspired by BuzzFeed, because BuzzFeed had if you look at BuzzFeed's headlines, it's as you can see, there are 31 products with growth before and afters that made us say that's enough internet for today. So they have a lot of these sensational headlines which get people sharing and create a reaction. BuzzFeed was very much known for top 30 for this, or 10 ways that you So why it's interesting is because I guess in studying the future of news, we can see and understand how BuzzFeed has focused on the sensational part of journalism. Also worth mentioning is Vice News. So this is a huge inspiration. I've actually met the founder of Vice, Shane, and really cool because Vice is very into investigative journalism. So they go into crisis-torn places. They go into rough parts of town and they speak with the people who are usually not heard, and they cover topics which might be a bit politically sensitive or sometimes overlooked by mainstream media. So I really respect some of their videos and journalism. They also do a great job in their local and global strategy. So they've got Vice UK, they've got Vice India, they've got Vice Indonesia, they've got Vice like different parts of South America. So in building up Unit News, this is a model that we've been working on studying and improving upon. Also worth mentioning is HuffPost. So this used to be called Huffington Post, and it's started by this female entrepreneur, Adriana Huffington, and she's amazing. I filmed a video of her 6 years ago, a parody video, which is quite fun. And how she started Huffington Post was she basically asked a bunch of volunteers to help write articles for the Huffington Post, and really smart on her perspective, because she managed to build a news publication which was taken very seriously, had an incredible community feel and good sense of high quality journalism. But the big problem was, when Huffington Post did very well economically, none of this value went to the contributors, the people who worked incredibly hard. And without these volunteers and writers and contributors' hard work, it wouldn't have done financially and economically well. She unfortunately didn't share any of the profits or returns there. So one thing that Unit News and the token economy provides is a way for everyone to benefit, all of the journalists or the writers to benefit from the publication success. Here's another really good example: CoinDesk. It's a crypto news publication. So here's a screenshot from when Bitcoin was under $420. And the cool thing about CoinDesk is they covered Bitcoin, Ethereum, cryptocurrencies before, and blockchain before it was an in thing. Before the early adopters even did it. It was like a single digit percent of the early adopters who were interested in crypto and digital assets. They felt that it was interesting to cover. We believe that we're at this point for the token economy. So Unit News wants to cover the token economy when most people don't yet understand or see the potential of how tokens can revolutionize and improve everything. Also, Cointelegraph is very similar to CoinDesk. I suppose the difference with Cointelegraph is they have a very good social strategy. So they've done really well on publishing and promoting and creating a viral system using their news. Also, very cool is how they are able to produce so many articles through the use of its journalism network. Social networking is another key piece of news. So, if you asked a person running a newspaper, whether the internet would disrupt their business, 15 years ago, they would have been very surprised, And now, if you look at the amount of advertising dollars which go to media companies or newspapers compared to a social network, it's really changed and shifted the game. Companies like the New York Times, which are is a family-owned business, they don't they didn't really believe in the potential of internet or online publication, but then they finally realized that they needed to jump in on the game, and they implemented a paywall. So if you wanted to read New York Times articles, you needed to subscribe or get an online publication. And having spoken to some people who work in journalism, it actually works out really well because the margins are much higher. The cost of distribution for newspapers is super high. The environmental cost is also very high. So it's really cool. So Unit News, this is what we're super excited for. As mentioned before, we cover general news, current and recent news of general interest within the Unit ecosystem, whether that's politics, business, sport, life, pop culture, music, style, with a focus on the token economy. City news, so current recent news from different industries within a local city, and showcasing different projects, inspiring entrepreneurs, artists, creators, people doing cool stuff. And same with industry. So we largely focus on creating, let's say, music news or art news or fashion news, or let's say New York City news or Dubai news. So it's very much industry and city focused that our teams are are pushing forward there. In terms of what types of articles, so we focus on interviews, so one-on-one talks with top performing people in the industry, covering their journey, expertise, challenges, things that make them unique or interesting. Journal reports, so short publication of specific topics written by experts for experts. This is slightly more niche, but hoping that everyone can benefit from in the future. A top list, so largely inspired by Forbes. They've got the Forbes 30 under 30, or Vanity Fair. They do a really good list also. So we want to cover the movers and shakers in various ecosystems, whether it's a weekly list or a monthly list. Also on Market Watch, showing technical analysis and charts of different projects within the token economy. A newsletter, so covering progress within not just unit but of various ecosystems and technologies. And then finally fact check, so basically looking at different issues and getting the facts behind that. So yeah, please feel free to reach out if this is particularly interesting, and I'd love to find a way to team up and collaborate. Thank you so much, everyone.